Adding injury to insult, the football team loses its middle linebacker, and how a bowl game is in question. Dan, when does Owlsports up this?
I believe it starts right now.
Right now. Hello and welcome back for another edition of Owlsports Update. Once again, I've got a real mensch, Dan Koob, with me. I'm Josh Rottenberg. Coming up, we'll tell you how you can follow your favorite Temple men's basketball players off the court.
But on the court, the team will enjoy its turkey in the Magic Kingdom. Coming up, we've got full coverage of the Old Spice Classic. But first, the football team was in Oxford, Ohio to finish out its regular season with a conference tilt against Miami University. After dropping the home finale to the Ohio Bobcats, the Temple football team tried to rebound on national television against the Red Hawks. A win would propel the Owls to their second straight 9-win season and help to provide a little clarity in an always confusing bowl picture. The Owls taking the field looking to take this one on the road on national television, coming in with 8-3 record after missing a field goal on their first possession. The Owls continue to move the ball down the field. Ryan Alderman here for 14 yards to set up this Brandon McManus field goal. His second attempt, it's good. I promise you it went in. Not pictured, obviously. Owls up 3-0 though. The Red Hawks would be circling in this one. They take the lead here on a 34-yard strike from Austin Boucher to Nick Harwell. Miami U up 6-3 after the extra point. Red Hawks get the ball again, trying to go off tackle, but Eli Joseph was really one of the few positive plays on the night for the Owls. Drops the ball carrier for a 4-yard loss. Josh, finish this one off.
Well, right there you've got Boucher hitting Armand Robinson. And then right now you got Thomas Merriweather looking like Eldra Buckley with that hair in at number 34. 96 yards to the house. This gives Miami their 23rd point on the night. Owls lose 23-3. And even though the Owls lost their final 2 games of the season, they found out a few things this year. They have more than one quarterback who can run their offense. Mike Girardi went 3-2 as the regular season starter after taking over for Chester Stewart. Also, when he's able to play, Bernard Pierce combined with Matt Brown are a two-headed monster that other teams have a real tough time stopping. Together, they're combined for more than 1,500 yards and 17 touchdowns. And because the Owls reached the 6-win mark for the second year in a row, they are eligible to compete in a bowl game. However, we are still unsure of if and where the Owls will be playing. But since the Owls went 8-4, they're not exactly headed to the Rose Bowl. They could play in one of 3 MAC postseason games, but instead you may hear names like the Kraft Fight Hunger Bowl or the Little Caesars Bowl. The list goes on and on, but I'm going to tell you what, it started making me hungry with those names, and I really cannot eat them.
Well, if the Owls are fortunate enough to get a bowl bid, they'll be dealing with injuries to a couple of key players. Bernard Pierce obviously injured his left hammy on the opening play against the Ohio Bobcats last week and was scratched from Miami University this week. The Owls star running back has missed time in 7 games since becoming the starting tailback in his freshman year. Pierce will continue to rehab the injury and is expected to be ready to go if the Owls are indeed selected to go bowling. Now the news is good for middle linebacker and leading tackler Peanut Joseph. The senior captain underwent surgery on his right knee earlier in the week and will miss the remainder of the season. Joseph hurt himself in the Ohio game last week. He's expected to be ready for the NFL draft in April, but his time as an Owl has come to an end. Joseph was a first-team All-MAC selection at linebacker last season.
Despite losing their last 2 games, the Owls still stand at 8-4, and a bowl game is still possible for the second straight year. So we at Owlsports were wondering, is this the best Temple football team of all time? Updates Dennis Baker, or Owlsports Dennis Baker, takes a look.
In 1979, Coach Wayne Hardin and the Temple Owls won the Garden State Bowl. This remains the university's only bowl victory. So far, that is. Fast forward to 2010. The Owls have clinched their second straight bowl game and possess a talent-laden roster packed with young stars. But which team is the best football team Temple's ever had? Many casual fans think prior to the Owl Golden era, the Temple football team was always putrid. But was that really the case? Of course not. In the 70s, the Owls went 80-52-3 under Coach Harden. In the 79 season, they were ranked 17th in the nation and defeated Cal in the Garden State Bowl 28-17.
You know, the media used to refer to the Wayne Harden offense as the smorgasbord of offenses because he had pretty much just about everything that you could do.
Many fans are also unaware of how close the 79 team was to going undefeated. They went 10-2 that season, with their only losses coming from Penn State and number 1 Pitt, led by a freshman named Dan Marino.
We did exceptionally well against Pittsburgh, losing in the final seconds of that game 10-9, so it was unfortunate. We did have an opportunity to win the game earlier in the first quarter if I had made a field goal that I had missed in the first quarter.
When asked to compare the two teams, Ron remained mostly neutral, but gave his reasoning as to why the 79 team has an advantage.
To try to compare the 79 team to the 2010 team, I don't think that you can really do it only because of the schedule. Temple right now being in the MAC, we don't play the same caliber of teams that we played back in 1979.
And when Ron was asked who he would choose between the Harden era and the Golden era, here's what he had to say.
Brian Brumell. I would take Brian Brumell. Wayne Harden. I would take Mark Bright and Mike Duckett. I'll take Brandon McManus. I'll take Brandon McManus over myself.
Although we'll never know for sure, the season stats show the 79 Owls would prevail past today's squad 33-27. Reporting for Owlsports, I'm Dennis Baker.
The Temple men's basketball team will travel to the Old Spice Classic in Orlando over Thanksgiving break. No word, of course, if they'll be traveling backwards on horseback and peddling deodorant. Besides the point, this is the 5th time the Old Spice has hosted this 8-team rendezvous. The Owls will tip off in Game 1 versus Cal, but the field also includes Big Ten powerhouse Wisconsin and Notre Dame from the Big East. Win or lose, Temple will play 3 games, depending on how they do against Cal. The Owls will play Georgia or Notre Dame in round 2. Both Temple and Cal are 2-0 in the year. The Owls are also nationally ranked as high as 20th, depending on what poll you're looking at. Some would characterize the way basketball players like Lavoy Allen and Juan Fernandez fly around the court as if they're birds, which makes their presence on Twitter all the more interesting. 9 Owls follow updates Rudy Mezzi on the social networking site, so he returned the favor by following their every move on Media Day.
You can see all their names on their jerseys, but on Twitter, they're known as something else.
AB_Owls22.
Temple 30, at Temple 30.
Juan Fernandez 4.
Khalif W05.
Baller for life.
Broad Street Bully 24.
MEZ_50.
T. DeLeo. D. Gately, _ I think, 45 Al.
And if you can't follow them at home or on the road, you can follow them all on Twitter. And they all like to tweet for different reasons.
I like that I get updated with a lot of my teammates' information. Like when Scooty Randall or Aaron Brown are joking around, I get updated even though I'm not with them. So when we come to the locker room and there's a joke going around that everybody knows about, it's not just them. So
it lets me be a different person, I try and, be a different person, in front of the media and stuff like that. But, when I get on Twitter, I'll open up more.
And every player has a hashtag that they'd like to use for the upcoming season.
Tremendous. Fran Dunphy voice.
Excited.
Potential.
Excited.
Fun.
Optimistic. Dominate.
And even though he's not on Twitter yet, Coach Dunphy has a hashtag too.
Opportunity. Why? Because we have an opportunity to play arguably the finest and toughest non-conference schedule in the country, and then we play in a very challenging league. 9
of the 14 players on the Temple men's basketball team have Twitter. And if they score as much as they've been tweeting this year, they'll be a lock to win their 4th straight A-10 championship. Reporting for @Owlsports, I'm Rudy Mezzi.
The women's basketball team won their first 2 games of the season against Buffalo after dropping their opening 2 against Ohio State and Seton Hall. They were looking for their 2nd straight win against the Northern Illinois Huskies. The Owls got ready to take on Northern Illinois. The Huskies here just do a terrible job stopping the ball. Shea Petty for 2 on the layup, and that would be pretty much the theme of this one. Petty hits the 3 ball after creating space for herself on the wing. The Owls held Northern Illinois without a basket for over 15 minutes in this one. Then off the inbound pass, working through picks, it's Petty again from mid-range, just pouring it on. Temple beginning to pull away. Quita Wallace with the steal pushes the tempo up the court and finds Petty beyond the arc. another three. Petty would score 23 for the Owls, and they would roll 79-56.
It's often a thankless job, but team managers are one of the most important aspects of keeping a Division I team running smoothly. So how appropriate that in addition to scoring lots of points for the Temple women's basketball team, shooting guard Kristen McCarthy has joined Owlsports Update in taking a look at the best managers Temple has to offer.
Megan Pearson works about 30 hours a week with the Temple women's volleyball team. She's there before practice starts, stays well after it's over, but she never puts on a uniform or steps on the court during a game. Instead, as a team manager, it's her job to make sure all players are ready and prepared to play at all times.
The managers are actually part of the team as well. They might not be on the court, but we put in, as much effort as the girls, and we're there every day, and we have the same commitment as they do. And I think it just brings everyone closer as a team.
While managers are not in the spotlight by any means, players and coaches rely upon them heavily. So a manager's job requires a high level of commitment, which often makes for a humbling experience.
Like in high school, I played all sports. I was the athlete, and then you see the managers, and you really don't have a lot of respect for what they do. But then being in this role, they actually do a lot, and they help the players a lot, and just make it easier on them, so they're not. So all they got to do is focus on the game and winning games and their practices and everything.
Being a manager can be very rewarding, but you must also be able to complete tasks efficiently, and most importantly, be very giving of your time.
You're sacrificing a lot of your free time for the good of the team, and although it's a hard thing to sacrifice time because it's the one thing that you can never replace fully, striking the win column really makes up for the hours you may have lost doing other things. Of course, we always have to stay after because we have laundry to do, we have inventory in our equipment room to do. When people take extra shots, we'll grab those for them.
Although a typical athletic team has between 3 to 6 managers, for each manager, the work is never ending.
It's a 25-hour-a-day job. Hey, best 25 hours you can spend in your life.
This is not something you can just do to say, oh, I just want to help out. You actually have to have a passion for this, and you can't just be lackadaisical, and you really have to want to do this.
For Owlsports Update, I'm Kristen McCarthy.
Great job by Kristen. Great job putting the ball in the net. And a great job reporting, so thanks to her.
She's a dual threat, and to be honest, I enjoy having her here on Owlsports.
Absolutely. Let's take that knowledge and go right into the nest.
Let's do it.
Well, lacrosse coach Bonnie Rosen has been named to the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame, being enshrined with 7 others in Hunt Valley, Maryland. The former All-American at the University of Virginia, Rosen has been at the helm here at Temple for the last 3 seasons and took home the Atlantic 10 Tournament Championship in 2008.
And senior forward Craig Williams has unfortunately lived up to his nickname, Boo Boo. He'll miss 4 to 6 weeks after fracturing his left foot during practice. Williams had just gotten cleared to play after having surgery on his right foot.
And Mike May has been named the Athlete of the Week. The senior led the Owls men's cross-country team to a university section title repeat at the 2010 IC4A Championships. May finished first in the individual running by crossing the finish line in a time for 25:24. Track the cherry and white anytime by logging on to owlsports.com and on TUTV, Comcast Channel 50, and Verizon Channel 45.
For Dan the Man Coob and the rest of the Owlsports team, I'm Josh Roltenberg. Have a great day.